Good evening and welcome to the town work session for the town of Ossining for May 6, 2014. Let's please stand for the pledge. We have a very, very busy night tonight, so we're going to start right away. And Gloria, if you could come up and talk about your 2013 uncollected taxes. Did you want to sit or did you want to stand? Your choice. You'll sit? Okay. Gloria? Just put it here because we'll get the whole envelope, okay?
Hide the evidence.
Mike, come in later. Thank you.
Don't let it.
Okay. Can you pass her down that mic and then you
Missing a microphone. We should have two.
Yeah, it's right. Well, yeah. Oh no, yeah.
You take a lot more money from me. Blame it on Gloria.
Okay, good evening.
Good evening.
The first thing I wanted to do, I was preparing something on the 2013 delinquent taxes when I got an email from the Ossining Voice that answered Mr. Blaha's question the last time I was here.
Oh.
And at that time, when I was discussing our foreclosure, you asked me why was it so much larger and why were there so many more properties last year. And I said that, it took a while for people to lose their jobs and also go through their savings, and that by the time we foreclose, we've got 3 years of uncollected taxes. So if you look in your folder, number A is the article that I got from the Ossining Voice, which Westchester foreclosure spike, not an economic indicator. And what it explains is that what I saw here in Ossining wasn't any different than what's happening all over all of Westchester, and that it's the banks as well. These are bank foreclosures. And that Tim Idoni, the county clerk, explained that it's the ones that peaked in February and March, which coincidentally is when our foreclosure ended. And the ones that peaked at that time had been in the works for 3 years. So it exactly mirrored what was happening here. And I thought that that was very interesting that I'd bring that to you because it kind of explains that we're not an anomaly, we're just the norm. That was an unusual foreclosure. We never had 45 properties in a foreclosure before. Our average was around 11. Maximum was 18. In 2012, believe it or not, we only had 6. So things are looking a lot better this year. If you look at number B, what you have in B is a list of every single property that has a lien in the town of Ossining, and there's only 40. Out of 10,200 properties, there's only 40 properties that have a lien. But it gets better because the two at the top we foreclosed on in 2011. Then we have 7 parcels with judgments from prior foreclosures, and the next 7 are parcels that we just foreclosed on in February that we'll be auctioning. So the top 9 can be auctioned. Then we have 9 parcels with payment plans, and these people are keeping their payment plans current. And one of the really exciting things is that in April, when I was collecting the town county taxes, my payment plan people came in and paid without being reminded, or they really take it seriously. And I think it's an excellent way to help people keep their homes and yet collect the taxes and be fair to the rest of the town. So the only thing left so far to foreclose on are the 22 parcels with a 2013 lien, and they will be included in the 2014 foreclosure. And if you look at them, I know that I've already been approached by some of them, and that we really won't have 22, by the time summer rolls around. So I think we could be heading back or trending back to a more normal situation. Now, what I've done also to get, in the past 12 years, I had 20 payment plans in 12 years, and right now I have 9. So that's also an indication of the economic times. And I've really done a lot of outreach to try to reach people so that they would be able to have a payment plan. And one of the things was this program. When I was here last, I pointed this out. This was our program at the library that I did in conjunction with Westchester Residential Opportunities and Pace College Livable Communities. And this program generated 2 more payment plans, one of which was supposed to be number C in here, but I gave them to Maddie to pass out to you. So you will have that application for a payment plan. I'd like to say that payment plans are governed by the town code, and I encourage people to contact me if you have delinquent taxes. You have got to meet the criteria that are outlined in the town code. You have to make a large sum down payment, and then the rest of the payments can be spread out. During the period of time that you have a payment plan, you must make all new taxes paid in full. You can't be late with those. And what it does is it keeps you out of the foreclosure and on the list of exclusions. So I'd like to just suggest that anybody who feels that they could be helped, contact me. That was a very successful program at the library, and we filled a conference room, and as I said, it generated 2 more payment plans. Now, one of the indications that things are getting better is that the audit's complete, and in our last paycheck, when we got our little notice, our supervisor was very proud to share the happy news that the town is in strong financial condition. And I believe that this is due in no small part to the fact that we have strict enforcement of delinquent taxes and that we follow Real Property Tax Law Article 11. And because of that, the outstanding lien debt is only $485,000. That's the number on the page that I gave you, number B. And $485,000 in outstanding liens is minuscule. I'd like to compare that to a neighboring town which just filed their 2012 foreclosure. The one that we completed in February was just filed. And this is in the Gazette. You have to publish your foreclosures. And if you could see, there's 2 pages here, and then there's 2 whole pages here. If I thought I had a problem with 45 properties, there's 85 here. But more important than the... Well, I just thought that for the public, they could get the
Okay.
Gazette, or do you think it's public information?
No, I don't mean to single anybody out.
I'm
looking at your number A here,
Mm-hmm.
and Austining is at the 5th.
I saw that.
So
One
I'm just
point,
wondering where that one falls as far as, A appears to be an apples to apples comparison.
Okay.
So I'm wondering where that community ranks.
well, this is public
Comparison.
information. It is in the newspaper. It's there for anyone to see. It is the town of Cortland. They're directly north of us. It's a similar community in terms of the types of properties, the types of housing, and it would be, but 85 properties, but more telling than the number of properties is the fact that if you read this, the liens, I don't have a lien older than the 2012s, and those 2 properties with 2011 liens that we weren't able to auction. But these go back to 2006, 2003, 2007, 2008. When you're carrying that kind of debt, it's not good for the town because you've already had to make the school and the county whole. So what you're doing is you're holding paper. It's paper. It's not revenue until you collect it. And in some towns, They had $17 million in delinquent taxes in Greenberg, and they offered a tax amnesty. And they said, listen, just come in and pay, and we're not going to charge you the penalties. And what happened was, they only got 25% of it, and they lost all the penalties.
So the
Whereas-
issue,
Okay.
so the issue isn't how many more than us, more than how old they are.
How old they
correct?
are,
'Cause the
it's
person-
both.
In this particular,
But
it's
it's
also a
both.
philosophy, it's
Right.
a community's philosophy. But we
But
need,
it's
and I just
Well-
want to keep on target because,
Sure.
and I apologize because we started so late and we have such a
Right.
busy agenda tonight, so.
So now, that brings us, though, to the fact of why we don't have so many past delinquent ones, and that is because I do maintain Real Property Tax Law, Article 11, and we follow it fairly closely, filing our delinquent taxes 10 months after lien date and following up with the foreclosure a year later. And as I've told you before, I always have 3 to 4 years of taxes open. So we have the properties we already foreclosed on that need to be auctioned. We have the 2013 liens right now that need to be foreclosed on. We have the 2013 taxes that will be rolling over into lien. And for that, I have another chart, and that's number F. This shows you the delinquent 2013 taxes. Now, I had to make the report on March 31st to the supervisor, and I sent you all a copy of this. But what it had in it, and I compared it to my previous reports, it had the number of delinquent taxes open on March 31st and the dollar values. And if you can, I didn't do April or May of the preceding years because it's really not required, but I do have the lien rollover in July. And if you look at what was open on March 31st of 2014 and compare it to 12 and 13, you see that we're significantly below. And not only are we below, we're also below some of the numbers at July. Now, if you then look over at April 30th, I've managed to collect already 25% of the school that was opened, still open on March 31st, and 15% of the town county. So we're on target to having a much lower number of liens for 2014. And maybe we'll get back to where we were when it was around 80, 72, 79, which it went up in the last 3 years. So that is the information I wanted to show you on that year. The next year of open taxes are the April taxes I just collected, and we have more than 500 delinquencies. We always do. And so now we start the enforcement of those delinquent taxes. But the interesting thing about that is I have a whole year to collect that, because right here, we're still collecting the 2013. This is the only place in the state of New York where you have 2 town county bills open at the same time for 3 months, both at the same time, because I'm still collecting 13 until we roll over at the end of June, while I'm also collecting the delinquent town county for 2014. So the outstanding debt, as I said, is only $485,000, which is means that we don't have to borrow, and we don't have to. We have to make the school and the county whole, but we're doing a lot better than we did last year. The other reason why it's important to not allow that kind of debt to accrue is because not only is it bad for the town, but it's really, really bad for the homeowner, because you might be able to get yourself out of 2 or 3 years of delinquent taxes. Some of these properties have 14 years, and they're underwater. They could be underwater with their mortgage as well, but what happens is that if they can't get out, then they're really sunk. They can't make anything out of their house. If you can at least sell your house and get something out of it, but if your taxes have put you in the hole and your mortgage is unpaid, then you've really lost everything. So it's not fair to the homeowner not to enforce according to the rules.
Okay.
Now, the other thing is about the auction. The judge delayed the judgment on this. When I was before you last, and I suggested that we do the auction in June, our attorney had submitted the papers to the court, and he didn't get them back. And the reason he tells me is because the judge is overly careful when people are going to lose their homes. And we had several properties in there that were homes, and 2 of them were occupied. So the judge delayed the judgment. We just got it back. We need a town board resolution at least 6 weeks prior to the auction. We have to publish it in certain places. And I really need more than 2 months to complete all of the tasks. I've given you the E is the tax receiver's auction checklist. These are the things that must be completed in order to have a successful auction. So part of this is the advertising and the legal advertising that has to be done. And of course, I always get a great help from the town clerk's office in getting those public notices out and getting them broadcast. They have to be in 2 different papers, and they have to be so many weeks and out there. And I think that part of that, too, is that it allows the homeowners whose homes are being auctioned one last opportunity to come forward. And Wayne, I believe that's something that we've had.
That's correct.
So, and this board has in the past allowed people to redeem after the judgment. And so it is in a way, with a premium, with an extra premium. So it is in a way maybe better to wait until we can do it and do it.
So when are you suggesting we do it now?
Well, last year we tried it in August.
It was tough.
Nobody's around.
It was tough.
Is August too difficult? Because September is very bad because we're
Oh.
collecting taxes.
Well, then we should keep it in August then.
Do
But
you want to
yeah.
do August? It would have to
Fine.
be that second week of August. Or
Is
we
that
have
good
to
for
put
you,
it
Wayne?
until October. But I don't like the idea of waiting when pipes can freeze on a vacant building. And so, does that work? for
We'll do
people?
it in August again, like we
Okay.
did last time.
Okay. And one of the things I've asked, is Tom here? Tom Warren? Tom, I've asked for the village information. I'll be sending an email to get the village taxes due on the properties. I'd like to suggest that we re-auction the properties we tried last year. We are going to do the State Street property, but that we also do the vacant lots and that we lower our expectations and take a loss. Somebody is interested in them, people are interested, but not at the price that we had them. I think it was 25,000. And so if we lower the price, we might be able to get them back on the tax rolls.
I just want, now, State Street, that had a federal lien against it, right?
Yes,
That hasn't been taken care of. I'm
yes,
pretty
it has.
It has?
Yes, that's why I had to re-foreclose on it a second time. See, what happened the first time was they filed the federal lien after we had started our foreclosure. And then when we got our judgment, we didn't know it was there until I did a continuation on the title search prior to the auction. So when I discovered the federal lien, we had to re-foreclose again, which we did. It's in this group. And Mark
Actually,
Toulis,
somebody could have bought it at auction, subject to the lien, and perhaps.
And paid the
negotiate-
lien.
Or negotiated with the federal government.
Well, that is the
but
building that's had the fire, too.
Nobody would do that.
right. You know, it had a fire, and I've had 3 people calling me. They're desperate for it. I was just amazed. 3 people have contacted me. And I think, you know, maybe they want to rebuild to their own specs, so maybe it's not a total
How
loss.
many builders come in there?
Yeah, but I really think we need time to advertise and to get that out. So that's the auction. And the other thing I wanted to bring up, I'm really proud of the fact that, you know, I taught a course at the Association of Towns to tax receivers across the state of New York. And my own organization, the New York State Association of Tax Receivers and Collectors, on the basis of that class, has given me a scholarship to attend the conference, the NYSATRIC conference. That's NYSATRIC is New York State Association of Tax Receivers and Collectors. And I was given a scholarship to attend the training school, and they've asked me to teach another class. And so I'm really excited about that.
Well, congratulations to that.
Thank you.
I didn't know you taught one at a AOT.
Yeah,
That's great.
I did, how to succeed at tax collecting without it being really trying. And it was a lot of the tips and tricks that you get after being in the position for a while, and it went over very well. And I believe that's one of the reasons why I was asked to do this. And I'm requesting authorization from the board to authorize that attendance at the conference, and also to reimburse transportation.
When's the
the-
conference?
It's in June. The scholarship covers the room, board, and classes, but not the transportation.
Where is
It's in Syracuse.
there?
Yeah, at a DoubleTree.
At least it's
Hotel
not in the
in
winter.
Yeah, please.
All right, why don't you send an
So-
email with that request on it, Gloria?
Okay, great.
Okay.
Does anybody else, I thought your question was really interesting, but I was thrilled to get a response from Daily Voice without having to even ask.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Gloria. That was great.
Thank
Okay.
you. It sounds like things are looking better.
They're looking really good.
Our next, we'll have a
Thanks
little
for your
shift
work, Gloria.
here. Our next discussion is going to be a discussion on proposed zoning changes to satisfy HUD requirements. As most of you know, well, David moves up here, David Stolman from FP Clark. Ossining is on the list of now 6 municipalities that HUD and the monitor did not think were answered their questionnaire to their satisfaction. When I inquired about other communities, I was told, well, some communities didn't even answer the questionnaire. So if they didn't answer the questionnaire, they weren't put on the list, which seemed a little bit a little bit ridiculous. And we've had a lot of meetings with the HUD and the monitor, not to be confused with our reval monitor. This is the HUD, the law firm that is representing HUD in the whole Westchester County affordable housing, zoning, let's call it a thing. And so, you know, we've met several times with David. David has been very helpful with us. And we have checked with the monitor, and if you understand this whole process, this is done by HUD, which is a federal agency. They're the ones that are holding up all the CBG money that you hear about. And Pratt Institute is doing all the investigations. So it is very numbers oriented only. That's, you know, they don't take into consideration your particular community. They don't take into consideration, they look purely at black and white on numbers. But we've sat with them, and we think we have a resolution to get the town of Ossining. The village of Ossining was never on it. The village of Briarcliff didn't answer. And so we did our due diligence and answered. But we have been talking with them. And David, you want to explain what we're proposing to do? And some emails were coming through today. And we wanted to make it clear to everyone that we said we would make some slight verbiage changes in our code, and that we would not take into consideration at all the accessory apartment, the as-of-right accessory apartment. And they seem to agree with us with our explanations as to why we would not follow in suit in that. So it's yours, if I didn't steal your thunder.
Well, I think you covered the whole first page of the memo that I prepared. Do you all have that memo dated March 7th?
It's in your pocket.
Wayne's got it.
Yep.
Proud of him.
It's in my packet.
Oh, okay. All right. Starting toward the top of page 2, I'd just like to read one paragraph that's in the Federal Monitor's report with this cover letter dated March 21st of last year. Additional actions will be needed by the town of Ossining to make meaningful progress towards meeting its affordable housing obligation under the settlement. These might include, in some combination, allowing multifamily housing and mixed-use development as of right in some zoning districts, permitting accessory housing units, and reducing minimum lot size requirements for multifamily housing to provide opportunities for additional types of lower-density multifamily development, such as quadruplexes. And the zoning amendments that follow here would respond to this paragraph and these suggestions by the monitor. You'll notice in there that it says that the town should permit accessory housing units, which it already does. So we've pointed out to the monitor that the town already permits accessory housing units. And I think they missed that because most of the time you find affordable housing regulations in the zoning law. The town of Austin has a separate chapter, so they didn't look hard enough at the code. So we've pointed out that the town has accessory apartments already. And there's nothing in these zoning amendments that would change that in any way. The monitor seems to be very much hung up on uses that are permitted by special permit or conditional use permit, as opposed to uses that are permitted by right. Multifamily development is now permitted in the town
Can I
by,
ask you just to pull your mic closer?
Sure.
And is the button up?
Is-
It is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Up,
Yeah.
okay,
counterintuitive.
So that everybody can hear you here, not only in the camera.
sure. Is
little
this
closer.
better?
No, you're like Wayne. Wayne sits back and talks.
Oh, okay. I'll try to, there, okay.
There we go.
No, Eric is flinching.
No, that's good. No, louder is good.
Oh, okay, good.
Clean phone.
Yes, louder is good.
Very good, Eric. Okay, so the federal monitor seems to be very hung up on any use, any multifamily that's allowed by conditional use permit, which is how multifamily is permitted in the town of Austin. So what we're suggesting that multifamily housing in the town be allowed by site plan approval from the planning board. So there would still be an approval from the planning board, and it would be site plan approval as opposed to conditional use permit. As a practical matter, the way the planning board handles things, there's very little difference. Everything is subject to the seeker regulations. Everything is subject to the zoning regulations. So as a practical matter, there'd be very little difference. And the other thing that the monitor is suggesting is that instead of there being a minimum lot size of 40,000 square feet for multifamily housing in the GB zone, it be reduced to 20,000 square feet. That would not result in any additional multifamily development, because multifamily development in the GB zone is permitted in terms of a formula that would apply equally to any size property that you're starting with. And for a two-bedroom unit, for example, you would need 4,000 square feet plus 1,500 square feet per dwelling unit. So you would need 4,000 plus 1,500 times 2 is 3,000. So 4,000 plus 3,000 is 7,000. Whether you're dividing a 1 acre lot by 7,000 square feet, or whether you're dividing a 2 acre lot by 7,000 square feet, or a 20, it's all the same. And I remember going over this upstairs in the conference room a while ago. If you have, let's say you have a 40,000 square foot lot, and you're dividing it by, let's say, 10,000 square feet, you have 4. If you have two 20,000 square foot lots, you're dividing by 10,000 square feet, you have 2 on one and 2 on the other, you have 4. So there's no increase in density by lowering the minimum lot size, but by lowering the minimum lot size, it's according to the monitor anyway, it's easier for people to acquire a smaller lot to get started with some multifamily development than acquiring a full acre, a 40,000 square foot lot. 40,000 square feet is roughly an acre. It's a little bit less than an acre. It's sometimes called a builder's acre. So just going down the list here in the memo itself, under possible zoning amendments, we have a multifamily in district, and there's one property in that multifamily in district, and it's called the Hagedorn property. And Deerfield, the Deerfield development wraps around that.
Where is that?
It's on Hawks Avenue.
Oh, okay. And that's a multifamily district?
It's a multifamily in district, which permits inns and a variety of other uses, and it allows multifamily development as well. And it's surrounded by townhouse development.
And
Right.
what's the size of that parcel?
That parcel is,
More than 40,000
oh
square
yeah,
feet?
it's about 5 acres, I think,
Okay.
if I remember correctly. So the proposal is to allow multifamily development, not by conditional use permit, but by site plan approval in that district, and to,
It's an existing business right now.
there's an existing office
It's
building on the property.
It's not like it's like empty and, you know, it's, yeah.
It's
yeah.
underdeveloped, though.
Yeah.
There's a relatively small building on a lot, it's a good-sized lot.
Can I ask a simple question?
Sure.
So if we were, I know I'm kind of jumping ahead, but if we were going to make these changes to as of right versus conditional permit, is the thought process by HUD that the developers are going to, by osmosis, see this and run to us and start developing because all of a sudden we made these verbiage changes?
No, I think HUD is, and the monitor are hung up thinking that if someone did come in, we could give them an especially hard time and perhaps deny the project if it were by conditional use permit. Not that
And
there's going to be.
we proved to them that we have never done that. Like, we sat here and spent hours proving it to them that we have never done that before, too.
Not that they're
But it's
gonna-
not, you don't advertise that you're doing it, you just do it and then, you know.
That's, I mean,
yeah.
that's my point.
The concept that I got was really the fact that it's an additional layer of approvals.
Right.
An additional layer, even though functionally, when you read our ordinance and you read what a conditional use is, a lot of the criteria for approving a conditional use are the same criteria and the same analysis that's going to be looked at when granting site plan approval.
Correct.
Which is like egress for police and.
Well, it's protection, public protection. There are some others, but when you read them, they could really all be, sort of folded into the site plan review initially. Because right now, you have the planning board giving two levels of review. One is for a conditional use and one is for a site plan. And in the end of the day, much of it overlaps. If you're approving, for a conditional use, you're basically, you're reviewing a lot of the same factors that you would for a site plan anyway.
Well, maybe it's the wording, the conditional use.
That's exactly it.
what it is.
It's all semantics.
Yeah.
And perception, it's all based on perception of, I guess, how receptive you are to multifamily development by requiring a conditional use permit versus simply a site plan. Whether the reality in the world, we don't believe is really different. We don't think that it's really going to act to be more encouraging or less encouraging, but from a semantic standpoint and a perception standpoint, according to HUD, HUD, to them that's key.
Yeah.
David, what's the third one you had down there?
Can we do two first?
Oh, I thought we did that.
No, we haven't, well, we sort
I'm
of
sorry.
did. We sort of did, but the only point I wanted to make with respect to the second item, and everything that we talked about for the first item would apply to the second item as well, but there is no property in the town of Ossining that's zone multifamily
Right.
that's not already developed.
Well,
And
I think you just need to explain it because we have this in front of us, but, if you say 2 versus 1, so let's
Oh.
start and say what
Sure.
2 is. Yeah.
Two pertains to the multifamily zoning district. And for the most part, and almost exclusively, the townhouse projects in the town of Ossining were designed and approved and built in accordance with the design multiple use development zoning, which got repealed in 1985. And at that point in time, that zone went away, and those properties were put into the multifamily district. There is no existing undeveloped property in the multifamily zone, but we can make these changes anyway, and if at some point in the future property gets zoned to multifamily, these regulations would apply. And the third item is the general business zoning district, and in the general business zoning district, in order to build a multifamily project, you need 40,000 square feet, and it's by conditional use permit. So we would change the minimum lot size to 20,000 square feet, in which case perhaps you could put a quadruplex, maybe a 4-unit multifamily structure on 20,000 square feet, something like that.
In a general business district?
Yes, in the general business district,
Oh, permits multifamily development.
Is that
Permit-
like North State Road?
North State Road,
Right.
yes, yes, that's the only general business zone we have in the town.
And we have water there, we have sewer there, and we have public transportation there.
Exactly right, exactly right. And the minimum lot size for virtually all of the other uses is 20,000 square feet. The way you can get a project approved for virtually all of the other uses is by site plan approval and not conditional use permit. But when multifamily came into the general business district not too long ago, it was a brand-new use, and it was made a conditional use permit kind of use. It didn't have to be, but it was at the time, and if we change that now, hopefully these things will not adversely affect the town in any way, but hopefully they'll satisfy the monitor.
I think, I appreciate the work of the monitor in trying to create some standards that are helpful to our county, and to the extent that Ossining is on that list, if these changes will satisfy the monitor and help our community be part of, a trend in the right direction, then I'm in favor of these changes, with your suggestion, of course.
They're minimal, it's minimal changes since really the process stays the same. And I think that, excuse me.
I'm sorry, I'm
Go ahead.
interrupting you. No, I was going to say, they're really distinctions without a real difference.
Right.
As Northern said, I think maybe it was you, Northern, who said before that it's a matter of semantics to a large extent.
And I have to say that in the last one, which was the accessory apartments, we did explain to them that we have accessory apartments, that we already have a law, and that we stand by that law, and they seem to accept that. So, so we're pretty happy with the way we do that, and right now, and moving forward. So, any other
So what's the
questions?
next step?
Next steps.
The next step would be to find out if this will in fact satisfy the monitor before we start giving too much, just to have him say, well, that's good, but we want more, we want more, we want more. Assuming that we can work out some sort of agreement, the next step would be to draft a local law to actually make these zoning changes. we
And then there would be public hearings, there would be a public hearing.
At least a public hearing.
Right. So it would be, give time
Yeah.
for the public to speak on them
We would do an
too.
environmental assessment form, a long environmental assessment form. Presumably, eventually, we would issue, the town board would issue a negative declaration, and there would be at least one public hearing for the rezoning, for the local law.
So why don't we say that next steps are, I'll continue to have dialogue with the monitor, who is James Johnson. And so far, he has seemed to be, I wouldn't have taken it this far if I had not had quite a few discussions with him already. So if that's the case, then I think what we should do is start the process of beginning the local law so that we can start that whole, it's just like anything else. It's not something that next week we don't vote on it. We go through the whole process with it too, with the public hearings and the whole thing, so.
Public hearing, it gets sent to our planning board for our planning board's advisory opinion. It gets sent to the county for the county planning department's advisory opinion.
Right.
And then we go through the secret process, and it is a process.
So what we'll do too is on the webpage, we will put the whole action plan to get this done, so that everybody knows what step we're on, and just like we do with everything else that we do in the town.
Has there been any instance in which the monitor has gone back to a community and seems to be continuing to ask for more, or is this just within the realm of the possible? I mean, do you have any indication that might happen to Ossining?
I don't think anybody knows what the internal negotiations are in any particular community, but we just kind of think it's the safest thing to do to not actually adopt the local law without talking to the monitor and finding out if in fact this will satisfy the monitor.
Well, we also have that Mamaroneck was the 7th community, which is a very similar community to Ossining, the town of Mamaroneck with Mamaroneck and Lodgemont and everything. And they did pretty much this to satisfy the monitor, and they got taken off the list. So that's really just our goal, is to come off the list. It doesn't commit us to anything. It at 558 North State Road, when and if that bills that, we have 3 affordables that are counting towards the total for the Westchester County and that particular development. So I think we should, I'm in favor of moving forward and getting confirmation from Mr. Johnson that this is what will satisfy them at this point. But-
Good.
Okay? Okay.
Yes, yes.
That would be nice.
Okay,
That would be an
Thank you, David.
accomplishment.
okay, good.
All right, thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Again, I apologize that we're running a little bit late because I lost here it is, my agenda. Huh?
Mark is not here.
Oh, Mark's not here yet. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna pass number 3 right now because Mark Reisman has not gotten here yet. And we'll go to number 4, which is taking credit cards, payments.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you, David, very
Thanks,
much.
David.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Okay.
Have
Nice
good
to have a
night,
happy one.
all. Right. Have a good night.
All right,
Thanks.
thank you.
Thanks.
Taking credit card payments via credit card, and right now we do have the tax receiver does have the ability to take credit cards. We were looking into different options for being able to pay credit cards since the government has loosened up governments taking credit cards a little bit. So I'm going to leave that to Tom now. So Tom,
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
Supervisor Donnelly and members of the town board.
Thank you.
I was here, I believe last fall, talking about a meeting that we had with Official Payments Corporation to discuss the prospect of them providing cash management services for both the town and the village for processing credit card payments as well as e-checks. As you mentioned, the town tax receiver currently has that, and we were looking primarily to expand this to the other town departments as well as to the village as well. And we did receive a contract proposal which we have reviewed. It's being reviewed on the village side. But when I was here last time, I think the hang-up was the
Percentage rate.
percentage fee that was
Right.
charged on the credit card payments,
right?
which has always been in their proposal 2.8%, which is the same percentage rate that the tax receiver shows on her website. And as we had discussed, just like with the town tax receiver, the intent was to charge this back as a user convenience fee to the person that wanted to use credit cards or e-checks for payment of services. And the whole intent was to make it more convenient to allow people to conduct transactions with the town as well as the village, and not require cash or checks at all locations. Primarily it was to allow payment of credit cards over the counter.
Can I ask a question since Gloria's here? So, when people pay their taxes and they use credit card, so you're saying it's a 2.8% on the tax. So, if conceivably, if I'm paying a $6,000 tax bill, I'm charged an extra 2.8%, which somebody who's faster than math than me
Plus the
right now is
exchange
going
rate.
to tell me what that
$18.
is. How much?
I don't know, $18?
For $6,000
180.
Was that 180?
and you-
6,660.
no issues? You get no issues? People do it?
Yeah, if I could respond, I just happen to have a tally over the last.
2.8%, just want to know. I mean, that was our question. You
Yeah.
and I both thought it was kind of a
Yeah,
lot,
that's
and this
okay.
is it seems the highest bill that people would pay in the town, so I
Yeah.
figure that would be.
Well, because that is, some people like that convenience,
Yeah, well, that,
Well, here's what happens. My website's been active since 2006, September of 2006, and I've taken more than close to $30 million on that website. But I just went back and looked at the last 2 years because it's changed a lot. In the beginning, it was new, and it's been 8 years. Now it's becoming almost a little more popular, and I'm getting close to 400 payments each cycle. But my website is open 24/7, 365, as opposed to, I think the village is only open during the months when you're collecting. Is that correct? So I get a lot of delinquent taxes. I send out my bills, and I get the delinquent taxes that way too. And what happened is, for the last 2 years only, and it's not even 2 full years, I took in close to $11 million on electronic checks, and only $915,000 on credit cards.
Okay.
So with these large payments, people don't want to accept that. There are times when it makes a lot of sense. In February, you have a 10% penalty on your school tax.
Right.
So to pay 2.8, and believe me, it's easier to pay 2.8 than it is to pay 10%.
Right.
But the other thing is that what's an advantage to my site is that the person sees it as 2 separate charges, and the town doesn't have to handle the site fee. So what happens is, on your check, on your bank statement, it'll say Town of Austining tax payment $3,500, and then it'll say, for the electronic check, it'll say $1.50, and that's the fee that is charged for the electronic check. With the credit card, it's the same thing. You get 2 separate charges. So the money never, because when I first started, I used to get everything, and then I'd have to cull out and pay the site fee back to the company, and that was really very involved.
All right. So that, that answers the question, but some people do decide to use it. But
They
this
want
is
to
not, this credit
minimize.
card system is not just for these very expensive tax
No, I
bills.
know, but that was what, I just
Right.
wanted to know what the height of
Yeah.
it and.
Yeah. So,
The
if,
other thing, though,
No,
is that
yeah.
you can use, the system I'm using can be used anywhere. You can have a swipe reader. We just
well, we
don't
were
use
just,
that.
we were trying to see if we could save some interest rates for the consumer too. So, Tom, can you
Okay,
come back to the,
Thanks,
Can I-
Laura.
Did I hear correctly that the town charges or passes through the town website a 2.8% charge for credit card payments?
yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's always been that municipalities, it happens at the rec center too in the village. They take credit card payments for rec things too, and you are required to pay not only the percentage, but also the interchange fee. So are you saying that the proposal that was given to us is the same rate that the current system that we're using is?
Yes, it is, yes, for the credit card.
Okay.
yes.
I just negotiated a decrease.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought
To
it was
what?
higher, and all of a sudden, we looked last week, and it was like, it was the same.
Okay. All right, so, well, if
Oh.
that's the case, to 2.8%, yeah.
But
It's-
for the credit card, so the cash advance rate was 1%, I think, right?
That
Or
was for
cash, debit card.
cards.
I'm sorry, that's what it was, debit card.
So
it's
if
1%.
somebody wants to use a debit card,
It's 1%.
it's
It was
1%?
1%, yes.
okay, because that's an important difference then.
Right.
And that's what lots of people would use, maybe not online, but,
But if you were going to do that, it's cheaper to pay $1.50 if it's coming right out of your bank account.
for your taxes, Gloria, it might be, but if you were going to the building department to take out, this is to expand it to the other departments. If you're going to the clerk's office, let's say, to pay for your dog license, and it's $10, and they have the ability to have the machine on the desk rather than have somebody walk in with cash or a check, which is what happens now. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for, we understand yours is that, yeah, you could get an electronic check for these large payments, but there's also small payments, like in the clerk's office or in the building department.
Include parking?
Parking
include
already
parking
has,
sticker?
parking already has a whole credit
And
card.
what about police, court tickets?
They have a whole credit card system over there already
And you
that
sh-
comes out of the court system.
You sure the rec takes credit card? Because
Absolutely.
when I paid for camp, they wouldn't take credit card.
Not at, you can't
Same
go to,
here.
you can't go to the window. You can't go to the window yet until they
Oh,
change this.
Online, yes, they do.
Online, they can take
Online.
credit cards,
Okay.
because I negotiated that deal. And that's all you could do in the past. But now, you want to have it, we want to be
Where you
able to
walk
have,
in.
you have a swiper right on the desk, just like when you go to the post office or you go to a supermarket. And that's really what we're looking for, beyond the tax. So what we really do now, need to do now, is say, let's find out if a company we already have established business with will give us a debit card fee of 1% too. If they can come down
No,
to
you
that
mean a
1%.
credit- You mean a credit card. The debit card here is
Yeah,
giving
but
us
we
1%.
don't use him yet. We don't use them
Right,
yet.
okay.
We use Gloria's system right now. So if Gloria's system can be expanded through
Ah.
the community, through the town, and allow a 1%, because that's what it's all about. What is the rate we're going to charge the end use? We have to charge the end user. It's almost like, and everybody knows I work in supermarkets. We constantly are negotiating rates because we don't charge it back to the customer, per se. It comes out in your grocery bill somehow, but we don't say you don't get a bill like that. So that's very interesting. Okay, so we'll have to find out and do a little bit more research on that.
Okay, so
Gloria.
so next step is to find out whether the system that Gloria
Is
uses
using.
will take a 1%
And can we
debit.
put a card swiper on?
I have a card swiper. They gave me one, but
Okay.
we're not allowed to use it
They-
in the office. So what I do in the office is I have the computer on the main
Right,
counter,
right.
and we let people do it there on the counter.
So
But that's what the law is changing, that municipalities are allowed to have card swipers. And that's what started this whole discussion with this company. One, to see if we could get a reduced rate. Two, can we have card swipers in the clerk's office, in the building department, anywhere that people come in, because, you go over there and you think you have your check with you to get a permit, and the next thing you know, you forgot your check, or you got to go someplace, and people aren't used to that. They're used to being able to have that flexibility and that ease of use.
So do we want to ask Tom to look into that
Well,
particular
we'll-
company?
No, we'll just get a report from,
Okay.
from the company, yeah.
So just so I understand, Gloria has one vendor that she uses for the town, and Tom is saying that there's potentially another one?
Yes.
So we can compare the two and
Right.
pick the better of the two?
Right. It would be what you, I don't know, did you sign a contract?
We have a contract, but not only that, he hosts the website, so it's more than just using a credit card. It's that when you click on the link on the town's website, they provide the whole suite of services.
So the company that Tom is looking into might be able to do that as well?
No, it's a credit card vendor.
Well, but I don't know what they do, and I don't know
Yeah.
if we've even looked into that. But, I mean, if you have two vendors that provide similar services, let's compare,
That's
negotiate,
That's what
and
we were
pick the
just,
best.
that was,
But 92% of my payments are e-checks.
no, we get that,
We-
but
we
we're
understand
looking
that.
for, to expand it throughout the entire town. We're looking for, and in the village, they're even looking for it to expand it, like right now, they might have it, the community center might be 3.2%. It's how volume, it has a lot to do with volume, it has
Right.
a lot to do with what they're looking for.
Well, that might help us if Gloria's, whatever vendor or company is using, if they see that they're going to get a bigger volume from the rest of the town,
Well, that's
then
the way
maybe
to-
that's
yeah.
the negotiation tool that we've got. So,
All right, so
All
we'll
right.
we'll have to do some more work on that, but I thought it was, the credit card was different, Tom, but, we have to see if that other company even takes debit cards.
It's express pay.
Okay, but, I mean, I'll be honest with you, I have a Visa debit card, and Con Ed won't take my credit card. I won't take my debit card or my credit card because it's Visa, and it's, so there's different ones that do different things. So I just
Okay.
wanted to say that, that,
I can take MasterCard, Discover, and Visa, but I can't take American
right.
Express.
Express.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing.
So,
All right.
Official Payments offers the same 2.8% to include American Express.
see that, and American Express is a significant one because
Do you have
that's where
stock in
people have point systems. They have their American Express card is their points. They travel on them. They do everything. Yeah. Well,
All
yeah.
right.
But anyway, so we'll have to do a little bit
Well-
more investigation on that. So, okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks, Tom.
Okay, Wayne. Town municipal lot number 1 removal.
Actually, I did some,
Don't worry, the signs are down.
Okay, wait.
That's okay.
I don't want to.
My clutter is fine.
Yeah.
And I looked at the parking regulations in our code, and we don't have a specific provision that says it's specifically allowed there. What we have is a provision in our code.
Can we
which-
talk about which is lot 1? And what,
Well, the only lot, which is the lot that doesn't exist anymore because it was the lot in the old It used to be the police department building.
We had set up the 6 parking spots in the front of where the old town police department was to be municipal parking to help the restaurants and the different vendors along North State Road, because we have such limited parking there, so that they could have people park there and like use the restaurants across the street or the bakery or the shops. So we did this before we sold the building, which includes, of course, the parking lot.
Well, unless I missed something, I think what we did is we amended section 188-10 and added language as follows. Parking in designated public areas within municipally owned property is further limited to 2 hours per vehicle per spot. So, I mean, that doesn't apply anymore because I don't believe there's any additional municipally owned property.
But I actually thought that we had something in the law too that referred to parking lot number 1,
Did
because
we?
we were all
Because I was-
chuckling about it. We were all chuckling
was-
about it because we had 1 parking lot.
It's all right. 'Cause I went into the general code today. I was looking for it unless I missed it. But if that's the case, well, this provision doesn't have to be changed because
Right.
if we ever did have any municipally owned property, we could limit it to 2 hours.
I think it actually said what the address was.
All right. Well, then
So we
we'll,
need to just get that, but if you can get that, no one has an issue about removing it since it's no longer
Yeah.
our property, and
well,
to
it's
be
a-
honest with you, Access Point has taken down the signage, and
Yeah, if
we,
it-
we
if
don't
that exists,
we don't
then
have a
should
right
change
to
it.
designate private property
Yeah,
as public
right.
parking
Right.
anyway. So at this point in time,
I
it
do
is
want to
moot.
point out that I did go and visit them the other day, and they have performed miracles in this building. It's like, they have half the building done, so that they could move in from their other location, but they've done a tremendous amount of work in there, so.
All right, so assuming you are correct and I just missed the provision, and we could just prepare a local law which essentially deletes that provision,
Right.
and then that's it.
Okay.
Okay?
Well, then we go back to the references, and the next one is the deletion of references to town police in the town code. So.
I
you
did a
know.
general search on our town code, and I found, to some degree more relevant than others, there are 59 references, and they're all throughout the code. And it's going to be extraordinarily onerous and expensive, because you got to publish and all that.
Right.
So what I was thinking of is we do have a section of our code that's chapter 40. It says police department. Maybe we could just do an omnibus amendment or an addition to that section, and just indicate that any reference within this code to town police department will hereby be deemed to reference any police department or any police provider that provides police services, either by contract or otherwise, to the town. And this way, is if we were to go,
Yeah.
if we were to go and do 59 local laws, basically, or just one local law that has 59, I mean, it's just gonna cost a lot of money, I believe, for the town to do that. And I don't
All right,
think
well,
we need to
that's,
do it.
and it's a better way to do it anyway, because we do want to have certain codes in there that no matter who is the servicing provider, they
Well,
follow
yeah.
some of our.
Right, and if
some
50
of-
years from now, there's a town police again for
mean, it-
some crazy
I mean, I don't
reason,
even-
you
well, I'm
don't
not
want
even
to go
su-
back.
I'm not sure to the extent that these things are relevant. I mean, I'll give you some examples. Section 182-17, taxis and limousines. It's licensed for class of inspection be fingerprinted by the town police department. Who does the fingerprinting now? Is it the county police?
No, the village.
The village will do it for
Well,
us.
most of the taxi cabs come out of the village anyway, so.
Okay.
The village of Austin.
Let me think. There's other things here. I mean, just you see it, fire lanes and zone on private property to be enforced by the town police department. So, I mean, these are all enforced now by, many of these by either the county or by
If you
other.
if you go to the alarm permits, that's enforced by the county police and.
Sounds, what you're talking about is right, is to just do
Right
an
here.
overall
See if you've got it.
reference,
I
yeah,
printed it out if
just
you
to
need
whatever
to.
whatever verbiage you need for referencing whatever relevant and current policing that exists, and that would just,
I think if we do.
that will take it out for the next 100 years, so that whenever, if it changes, you don't have to go back and
Well,
forth.
that's exactly the point, because, these things are always subject to change. So
Right.
if you create broad enough language which allows for, whoever the town uses as the police provider
Yeah.
to provide the services, that should cover you, I think, on all the issues here.
So Northern was bringing up a good topic. He said that, if you have vendors in the street, you see it more in the village, like at a parade or something like that, but like hot dog vendors and stuff like that they usually have to be fingerprinted.
They did it one, I know they did, I don't know what to do now.
We have a peddler provision in our contract,
Oh,
in
so you have a
our
peddler's
code.
license, but do you do it out of the town? And how do you get them fingerprinted and stuff? Do you send them over to the village right now? They go to Westchester County, okay.
Yeah, that
So
answers
it's,
it.
good. Excellent. Well, good, because we wanted to make sure that we didn't have, like, inconsistencies too with what we, with what our agreement with what other policing services that we use, which,
I was surprised to find that many references myself. Didn't realize there were so many.
okay. So now we're going to do a parks update. We're going to talk little bit about the town parks. As everyone knows, the parks within the town are town general parks. And we're going to do a brief update and tell people where things are, because we have some really exciting things going on. At Lewis Angle Park, we're finishing up the stage. We're going to be doing the mural on the restroom wall and exterior wall. Exterior. It's on the exterior wall, and it's going to be done like the second or like right after the AP exams are done. The high school is going to do it. It was a selection process, and if you went to Earth Day, all of the different entries were put up on the wall, and then the winner was put up there, and they're going to do that, and we're pretty excited about that. As far as the spray park is concerned, we were given a nice grant from Senator Carlucci for, he represented us in it, for $100,000 so that we can take a spray and dump spray park and make it a recycling one. And I must say, between the paperwork and the stuff you have to do to put a recycling system in, I am learning a lot. And the paperwork on each one is that big. But
What do we think, how long is that all?
It
gonna
won't be
take?
2015. It will be 2000. We'll be
Okay.
done by 2016.
And do we think?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. It won't be 2014. It will be 2015.
And
Yeah.
do we think we know how much that will cost in all?
It's going to cost approximately
Right.
a little bit over $200,000. So it might cost $220,000. We got this lovely grant for $100,000. And with the rest of it, we believe right now the town is paying $25,000 a year for the water with limited hours, because we have to limit some of the hours because of that cost of the water. So we figure we'll save, in 6 years, we'll have our return on investment, which is our ROI on this, because we'll save $20,000 a year. And that's being very conservative, because the same water, you just have to replenish the water. You have to, it's anywhere from 2,000 to 5,000. So what we said, we would do 5,000 gallons so that we stay $5,000 worth of water. It has so many good uses. It's environmentally correct. We should not be spraying and dumping into the Hudson River. And it's economically the right thing to do for everyone. So we're very, very pleased with it. We have a preliminary in your packets that I gave you today. We put a engineering, or maybe, did I put Trace in there? You didn't see it? Okay. So we have the company that, God, I spent all day copying things for you. So we put this Trace Pool Design. They are one of the top people. They do all the pools in New York City, top of the buildings, in the ground, everywhere. So they came in with some engineering, so design a circulating water filtration and sanitation system. There's special equipment that you use, and it's the whole proposal. Right now, I know I didn't give it to you. We're just reviewing it now to make sure that we get the best bang for the dollar on this part of it, which is a professional service contract. So we're just going to finish that up. We'll get that out to you to look at. And then we've already started on the dormitory, which is the people that run the grant program. There's a lot of paperwork with that, too. So we're very, very happy with that spray park. Again, it has to be put up. Everything in the park has to go up. was a very unique, because of the flooding. So it was a very, it's not the pad doesn't have to go up in the air, but all the equipment has to go further up.
What do you mean? It has to go up?
Has to be raised because because it's a flood zone. So it's, you're going to put it higher than you might have put it because,
Circulating equipment.
yeah, because it's very sensitive too, so you have to be very careful with it too. But just like anything in the park, we raise the stage, we're raising everything in the park.
But you're not racing the spray park.
No, not the spray
Just
park
the
itself, because
equipment, the circulating.
no one cares if water gets on that. What we are doing right now with the spray park, though, is believe it or not, the spray park has been there close to 7 years, which I found shocking. It seems like yesterday, right? But it was John Travokas was still the town supervisor, and so the padding on the bottom is going to start being replaced, and the goal is to have that completely done by Memorial Day before the spray park opens. A lot of it will be done in-house. That can be done in-house, saving us a tremendous amount of money. So I'm very proud of our parks crew for some of the stuff, some initiatives they've taken on. So Gerlach Park. Oh, by the way, everybody, Saturday is Stash the Trash, and we would like everyone to come out from 12 to 4 if possible, and help us clean up not only the parks, but the roadsides, everything. You can go to the Jug Tavern, you can go to the community center, you can go to the Historical Society, or you could go down to the waterfront. There'll be tables set up with gloves and bags, or you can pick them up earlier than Saturday if you choose to. I am putting a crew into Richard Wishney Park, which is across the street from where I live. And so we are going to be in there on Saturday from 12 to 4 if anybody wants to come and join us. There's a lot of people that walk Richard Wishney Park every single day, so they'll want it to. Whereas, and what happens is when you do stash the trash, you don't realize that it's in the fences, and you don't see until you start looking for the stuff. And we do suggest everyone wear gloves when they're picking up stuff. Well, at Gerlach Park, GE has put a crew together to do Stash the Trash. It's right down the street from Gerlach Park, and we got permission from the Teamsters because they'll be painting the pavilion too, the framework of the pavilion. They'll be putting in, they have donated new basketball hoops to be put in. And then what they're doing at this point is they're going to be, Henry and the parks are going to be fencing off the area where the basketball courts are going to be, so that, it doesn't, right now kind of seeps into the parking lot. And there's some vehicles up there too from the big job that we're doing, the big construction job we're doing on Old Albany Post Road Dead End.
Yeah, there's half the parking lot's taken.
Yeah.
So I've been there only a couple of times for sports, and other than just a really big field, I don't really remember much about that park. Is there a play area there?
Yeah. They have a great pavilion up there.
Is it a good play area?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm asking.
Not a play-
Same
I'm
one as
asking
at
that
Ryder
as
Park. It's the same playground
No,
as
no.
at
and
Ryder.
I would tell you, well, Steve, now
No,
that's
wait till, let us finish
Not the old
the
one at Ryder Park, the new
Yeah,
one at Ryder
yeah.
Park.
No, but there's a lot of, it's really for sports up there at Gerlach Park, but there is a very nice pavilion up there, and they're going to be painting the pavilion and getting it.
I understand,
Barbecue
but
and
I'm talking
horseshoes.
about, no, I know we have a pavilion in Ryder and a
Mm-hmm.
pavilion in Gerlach, and I know that we have fields. What I am asking about is play areas, because what happens as a parent of someone who is doing sports is often you have a younger child who is
Okay.
running around. So the question is, do we have anything on deck to put in, or
No,
we
it's
think
there.
about-
There's something there.
Yeah.
My children have played on it for years.
Okay.
In Gerlach Park.
And
In Gerlach Park. Okay.
And let me finish the
Okay.
parks, then you'll see what parks we are actually working on.
Okay.
Because again, like anything else.
Well, that was my question. I don't
As
know.
anything else, we have limited funds to be
Right.
doing stuff, and, our parks might have been here, and we're trying to bring them up to here.
Right.
And, and here's where, So let's get on to Ryder Park. So there's some stuff happening up in Gerlach Park, which will be fun to have basketball. There is a exit right off of Gerlach Park that you can walk on the aqueduct, and it's a nice walking trails up there and stuff like that too. And a very nice pavilion that's for rent. Ryder Park. In 2 weeks, we're asking, we have both the Briarcliff Little League and the Jesse Collier Youth Sports Organization want to put batting cages in around the baseball fields there. We're asking them to come in 2 weeks to this work session when it's not so busy. This is what happens when you have all these town hall meetings and everything. We have these whole lists of things we're trying to get done to make their presentations. You have limited information in your packet. It's for you to look at. It's not to talk about tonight. For you to go up there and look and see what the area is that they were talking about, and so that we can all work together and remember that it's about the kids and it's about making the park that, we have a couple. We want to make sure that the residents are happy. We want to make sure that the baseball kids are happy and the coaches and everything like that. So it's going to be an interesting meeting in 2 weeks, and we'll discuss the baseball batting cages. We are putting in your packet too, you have in here, you have information about 2 playgrounds. This is what it looks like, but yours is in black and white. And it's about 2 playgrounds, one being in Ryder Park and one being in Buck Johnson Park. And the Buck Johnson Park is the bigger of the 2 units. There is some diagrams in your paperwork too, I hope. Oh, if I don't have it, I'll show it to you later. The Buck Johnson is right off of it's Blue Lantern off North State Road by Briars. It's behind there. Yeah.
Why bigger unit in Buck Johnson?
Because that's the unit that needs that needs a whole new playground. Okay. In Ryder, we're putting in. Let me see if I have my paperwork here. I have so much paper today. Hold on. I was so conscious to get you guys all your paperwork you possibly want.
While you're looking, why does Buck Johnson Park need to be replaced?
Because it's very, very old and falling apart. Yes. Yes. It's very, very old.
Yeah, and I mean, just with respect to Ryder Park, it definitely needs a facelift.
Well,
I
that's
mean,
what-
there's just a lot.
Yeah.
People don't bring their little children there. There's not
Right.
much for them
One
to
of the
do.
things
It looks,
One of the things that they're going to do is take
What?
out those clown things that are there.
There's, just in case you don't know, there's a section of Ryder Park, if you go back further behind the old clown guys, or the
Yeah.
old cowboys, whatever. If you go further back, there is a newer equipment area
Right.
with the whole thing.
So this
Yeah.
is what they're suggesting
know that?
for. They're
I think so.
suggesting for Ryder Park is to put a small play area over here and lots of swings in.
Right.
yeah,
Okay.
that would be better. That would be a start.
Yeah. Yeah, because again, there's X amount of dollars, and
I just think that we should, as considering that we're the green tree, and what's that award we got, and being Ossining, we have some nice spaces, but I just think that we could do better in terms of making it a focal point, in terms of a priority, of giving them some facelifts. The parks look a little tired. They're not all that pretty, and what happens is we go there for sports. They look like fields, and that's it. They don't tend to bring you in so much as a playground type of place. Vets is a good example. It has fields, but it has a really good area for kids to kind of play in, and it looks really good. When you go there, it looks nice. I just would say that I would like us to look at some of these town general parks and try to, this is a great start. I mean, I appreciate it. I think that's great. I want to continue that work. That's what
Well,
I'm saying.
I think that we have spoken about this several times already, that it is the commitment of the Parks Department. We're putting more people in the parks.
Well,
And, you know, it was the department, to be honest with you, that really took a hit during the bad recession times. It was where the layoffs were. And
so speaking of that, actually, so you're right, having said that, do we have any thought process about, you know, we have one foreman who is skilled and is has been with us, right? Mario does a great job. But he has, 3 individuals who work for him at this point, not necessarily as laborers, not necessarily as skilled. So you have 4 people to deal with these are some big parks. We have Ryder, we have Gerlach, we have Lewis Engel. We haven't talked about Cedar Lane yet. You know, is there a thought process to us increasing or making 2 laborers a skilled person, having, you know, 4 people, but 2 be skilled and 2 be laborers, or 5 people, which I think we had years ago?
You have some serious, I mean, we brought it up in the last year to 4 people, plus our part-timers that we have in the parks.
Right.
And a lot of the stuff that's being done right now is field work and mowing of lawns and stuff like that, and you have to have those people. And when you have a Teamster, organization, number one, they start at a very high rate. So it's not like you can say, well, we'll start a couple of these guys at a low rate, and and then we'll bring them up. I think that our foreman that we have now is doing an outstanding job.
He is.
I think that.
But he doesn't want to do it. I mean, as a skilled person, you want reinforcement. So, I mean, he can't, I don't know that he can do it all by. Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, when you refer to somebody being skilled as opposed to unskilled labor, I think that the gentleman working in the job might take exception to that.
Well, I apologize for
just-
that. I think what we're talking about is difference of ability.
Right,
Of,
but something that's really good about all of our Teamsters is that, I mean, everyone has skills in doing all the general stuff, but there are some specialists in both departments.
Right.
So say if you're doing something in the parks, Mario is really good at, he comes from a masonry background, but he's also really good with wood crafting and that kind of stuff. But if they need a catch basin rebuilt in the park, they know who to call in the highway department, who can come in, and, those people are still being charged to the highway fund, they're still highway employees. But likewise, in the highway department, if they need the skill of Mario to do some woodworking, he did the leaf truck. Not long ago, he made a cover for the leaf truck. I mean, they can sort of interchange to that point. So in reference to having people who have different skills, I don't think that might be necessary. I think we could all agree that having more boots on the ground there would be helpful, but
Right,
I think
especially
the
if they're-
boots that we have now are the boots that we need.
Well, one of the things is that we take into consideration our very, very diverse community that we have, and we make sure that we, hire people that, are capable of doing their job, and I'm not sure where this is coming from, but you also have to take as a manager, our manager, who's very new at the job too, Albert just retired in February, has to not say, I'm going to hire this guy and make him, and he's skilled at certain things, whether it be masonry or carpentry or stuff, and take the people that have been there for a very, very long time, or even a shorter period of time, because we did have a big turnover in our Parks Department, and say to them, you go out and mow the lawn, and we're going to stay inside and, and do this. So there's a lot of managing that has to go on, too. So we think that
I
was
just simply trying to say that we have lots of parks, and in fact, to your point, Maddie, if we have people who are sharing skills, so that and that's a great thing. However, that means stretching a resource, so if we have people who are helping the highway department or helping the cemetery and helping the parks, and we only have 4, and they could be all skilled in whatever, it's a strain, and I think that some of our parks and things have shown that strain. I'm asking, can we think about, forward, what can we do, where our money is, can we add to that number in order to help them out with helping us to look better?
Can I just
Well, I mean, that's, it could be a year from now. It could be, you know, I understand we're not talking about tomorrow, but yes, if I was going to put it on my list of what can we do for town general things, would this be something that we would think about?
I just want to add something here. If we only hired skilled workers, nobody else would get trained, would they?
Well, no,
So-
we've
so-
already,
wait,
yeah, I understand
just
that.
hang on a minute. These guys, some of them are here from last year.
Right.
Because I asked about the salary thing last week. And that was the reason one salary was above the other one.
Right,
But there has been some times at like Engel Park, I made it as a joke. I didn't know it was the truth at this time. I said that the shrubbery and everything down there, I said, it looked like they did it with a chainsaw. And they said, that is, I couldn't believe that.
yeah.
And now, but I have to agree with you. With some of this, I don't know what's going on with it, but the parks are beautiful. But you can't go in and cut the shrubbery with a chainsaw. You have to do it with the hedge clippers, make it
Right.
look decent. And with the part-time help, I think they're learning and they're doing better.
Right.
But I don't think you need to teach them how to use a chainsaw on a hedge. But
Well, the thing is that one of the things that we agreed to this particular session is that we hired we made sure that we hired a good number of part-timers, which, you know, we have to be very careful too with the Teamsters on that. And the theory is that now that they've gotten into season and stuff, they're going to assign each one to a park. And what will happen is they can't do the heavy construction stuff. They're not allowed to with the Teamsters. They're not allowed to do to use heavy equipment or power tools, let's say. But they can go around and make sure that everything is painted and everything is, picked up. All the rubbish is picked up. We are moving the parks up, but you need to go back and look at the history of where this town was 5 years ago. What was done to bring the town back. And when you're talking about even putting on a $50,000 person in a department, right? And it's and then what happens is you're looking at a town. You're looking at a 2% tax levy if you're lucky. A cap on it. So this is part of what the give and take is, and that's why it's important that we go out and do stash the trash. It's important that we work with the guys. It's important that we don't maliciously damage stuff and cause more problems, i.e. graffiti in the bathrooms. So now they had to paint the insides of the bathrooms everywhere they went. They did paint the inside, but not with the beautiful mural.
the murals.
And I think that what they've done this year has been above and beyond what our expectations even were. They got the docks in early so we can collect fees of the boats going in the water at Lewis Angle Park. And they're slowly but surely moving it up. And there's some serious, yes, there are some serious, we walk the parks a lot, and there's some serious issues, and we have to all look at them. But I think that looking at the limited, getting the most bang for the limited bucks that we have is important. And we wish we could put 10 people on in the park. I'm a park person, you're a park person, you're a park person, we wish we could. But we do have a great relationship. There's two great relationships that go on, and that's one with the highway department and the parks department, especially with the skilled labor stuff. When it comes down to pouring the new pad, we'll be using guys from the highway department to help with that because Mateo is our mason guy. It's just like anything else. So we're doing the best they can. I think they've done miracles. We're constantly talking to them. They got Lewis Angle Park ready for Earth Day. It was fabulous. Now, is there
They
grant?
are
working-
hustling in a way too that
yeah.
we have not seen.
Yeah.
No,
I
they're
mean,
working hard. I'm here to try to support that.
Yeah, no, we understand that, but then when you sit down with your budget next year, you're going to say, "Hey, what's this? I don't want a tax increase here, and I don't, and we're." Yeah, so, so anyway, we'll continue working with it and continue updating you on the parks. But what I wanted to get back to the playgrounds for a second for, because one of them is in Buck Johnson Park, one is in Ryder Park. But because of our new ability to use these services that we have, NJPA, Tom? NJPA, we got a significant discount on, and we piggybacked on the Village of Ossining, who is putting in 5 parks. The difference between the village and the town is the town has enormous amounts of passive park, they have enormous, large spaces, whereas the village are much more condensed, but they also take care of many properties outside of parks, like roadsides and stuff like that. So we're working on everything. But the good relationship that our parks guys have with the highway department is great, and the cooperative relationship that they have with the village parks department is also phenomenal. And you'll see that at the fireworks and everything, where you see everybody working very hard together. So.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. And then going back, you said there's the Ryder playground, and also we're going to be
I thought-
talking 2 weeks in the next work agenda to Jesse Collier and Briarcliff
Yeah, and you have the
about-
information to look at it.
about Little
right.
League batting cages.
Mhm.
Okay.
Again, and, again, we have to sit down, we have to talk about what is a batting cage, who is responsible for that batting cage, what happens if, nets get ripped, we have a lot of things to go over with them, so we'll give them a significant amount of time to review those with us. They each want one. What is that? What is that? Is that the way we want to go? Is that what, and so we have a lot of things to talk about with that.
And they're each agreeing to pay for it, correct? Is that what I understood? Versus
No,
us paying for it?
there's different plans, so.
Oh, different plans, okay.
Okay. Okay, and to get back to this, and in Cedar Lane Park, we're doing our constant work at the Shine House. We're slowly but surely, but again, the Shine House took a step back because we needed to get outside. The Shine House is something they work in bad weather. They work on that in when it gets colder outside and stuff. They certainly don't work on it when they need to be striping the fields and mowing the lawns and stuff like that. So we have everything that we need for them to move forward on it, but it's the inside right now. Everything else is done, and again,
The garden's there, right?
some of them, huh?
The gardening is there?
The organic garden is in Cedar Lane Park, and also the dog park is up there.
Yes.
And also there's another pavilion up there. And it's the one that the Rotary built God, it's got to be like 10, 12 years ago. And so there's a pavilion up there. There's another pavilion up there. It's up, you go on your way to the dog park, it's right on your left. Another park that we need to do a tremendous amount of work in. Okay, so we know that.
That's where the salt shed is, right?
It's where the salt shed is, yeah. Makes my head twitch. But we have that, and we have serious drainage problems there. We could be in a drought, and there's still water in the street there. So we know we have drainage issues there. We have water problems in Ryder Park. We have, when we find out we have a large water bill, we have to start, finding out where the water problem is. Where is the leak in
Where
the pipe?
leakage is,
Yeah, so we have a lot of things. They're working very hard. I don't think Mario knew it was going to be. Well, we told him exactly what it was going to be. So we've been working very hard, and I think we have a lot of things going. And again, it's not going to be a miracle. It's going to be a step progression to work on our parks, and they're all town general parks. So that's the parks.
we did them all.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, did you ever know John Travokas?
No, I didn't.
I did, yes.
Yeah. Because, I was looking at this, all of these conditional uses. He could come up with another name.
Oh, he would.
Because
It's called as of right.
he has so many
He was the
big
admin.
words and.
Yeah.
Conditional
I
use
just-
it's a commonly used zoning terminology.
Yeah, well, I was just looking here in the 2 paragraphs, 1, 2, 3, 4.
He's back
5.
on the FP Clark thing.
I-
Yeah.
Circling back to that, okay, yeah.
But-
And we're allowed, because
Well,
we're going to comprehensive plan review, so it's
Go
very
ahead.
close. It's very close. But, well, that's the whole point. That's what caught the, it caught their eye not only in this community, but it caught their eye in other communities too. Okay, so our next item. Ready? Okay, our next item on our agenda is the reminder about the comprehensive review meeting and process. On May 21st, we'll be doing a kickoff. We want to review our comprehensive plan. There's some suggestions in our comprehensive plan that have not been acted on. We want to make sure that we're very comfortable with the comprehensive plan, that the public's very confident, and where do we want to move with some of the recommendations that have not been acted on. So the kickoff meeting is May 21st. It will be in this room, and if we find that we have a large crowd comes and, it's to help us with it, this is for the area of the unincorporated area.
7 o'clock?
7:30.
7:30?
Yeah. That's because that particular week we have something every single night. We do have a lot of stuff, and we'll talk about it in a quick second when we recap. But anyway, this is for the unincorporated area. The Village of Ossining has its own comprehensive plan. The Village of Briarcliff has its own comprehensive plan. This is the comprehensive plan that is for the unincorporated area of Ossining. And just before we go into executive session, because it has been it was a good night though. It was we got a lot of information done and stuff. We wanted to remind people that we still have, and they're posted on the webpage, and we'll update the list. We still have lots of meetings concerning the reval. We had a very, very successful one today with the Golden Ages Group #1 over at the Community Center, which is our seniors group. There had to be around 75 people there. It was very, very good meeting that they had. The gym does echo. We did learn, we knew that before, but it does echo a lot. But and I even had a senior come up and visit, so I was very happy. She came up after that meeting and brought me a little gift, so I was kind of happy. It was my name. She brought some piece of wood with my name on it. So I didn't want anyone to think it was a big gift. But anyway, so this week, right now, tomorrow night, we're going to the Mystic, which is a homeowners association. We have the different lists. Do you have your list with you, Fernando? Okay. Oh, Maddie has it. So maybe you could give a recap of some of the items of the meetings that are coming up. And we're still in the first stage of doing the kickoff meetings, really, for the thing. And we will continue to have these meetings, as I said to the seniors today, too. We will continue having meetings. We'll meet with you whenever you want to. If you have questions, please come to the offices, or either the assessor's office or the supervisor's office, and we'll gladly answer your questions. So, Maddie, if you could.
Yeah, I know one was recently added since this list was updated, so
Right.
maybe Fernando will remember that.
It
one.
was a condo
Right.
development one.
May 7th, which is tomorrow evening, as you mentioned, Mystic Point Homeowners Association. That's at 7:30. On May 13th, which is Tuesday,
Yes, there's some that they'll be on Tuesday nights, yeah.
at 7:30 p.m. at Roosevelt School at 190 Croton Avenue is the Ossining Board of Education. June 16th at 8 p.m. is going to be for the Briarcliff Board of Education at the Briarcliff Middle School, 444 Pleasantville Road.
Can you say that date and time again?
Sure. June 16th,
It's a
8
Monday.
p.m. at Briarcliff Middle School.
These are when they are meeting anyway. This is their regular meetings.
And then June 27th at noon,
It's a Friday.
the Briarcliff Rotary at the Briars Restaurant
At
at
noon,
512 North State Road.
right.
Did you do Ossining Chambers and Briarcliff Chambers?
They're coming up with their dates. We're also doing the Village Fair. We will be there from 10 to 4, the entire Village Fair at a table. It's already been set up, the table.
What's the date?
The Village Fair is June 7th,
It's already
14th.
been set up. It's sitting there waiting.
Yeah, it's there already. We're right next to the 2 EAC booths, so I got it all set. We also have there's one going to be a public meeting for Briarcliff over at the middle school. Do you have that on your list? Okay, so there'll be a public meeting. Anyway, what we'll do is we'll post it again on the webpage, and if you have any questions, please call 762-6001. and we'll gladly recite the list over to you, because we're trying to get into as many of the different groups and diversity, whether it's culturally, whether it's religiously. Oh, we're going to be at the synagogue too, at a meeting too. So we have a lot of different groups. Have already signed up for this kickoff meeting and this to be able to talk about it. And we're getting a very good response so far.
I have more dates.
Oh, there we go.
Found a newer list. Let's see. May 15th, which is a Wednesday, 7 p.m. at Congregational Sons of Israel at 1666 Pleasantville Road. And then June 19th at 7:30 p.m. is for the Briarcliff residents at the Briarcliff Middle School.
Right.
Would you put that in my pack for this week?
Of
Yeah.
course. I'll put an
Thank you.
updated schedule on the
that would
homepage of the website and send a blast out, and then you
That
guys
would be
will
great.
get that as
Yeah.
well. Yeah.
And that's is anyone that you can attend. Like I couldn't stay for the whole Golden Eagles one today, but I went over there and to make sure everybody had a comfort level. So the more of us that show up, the better. Fernando's at all of them with Melissa, and so it's pretty interesting. And people are understanding it, and our goal is to take the fear out of this, and especially right now. So, any other questions? This was a lot tonight.
Happy
Yeah.
to wrap up soon.
Do you want to make a reminder about the planning board meetings coming up?
Oh yes. So we have decided that when the farm
Brand Farm.
Brand Farm is on the agenda, we cannot have it at the operations center. So there's too many involved residents that want to come to that meeting. And the only nights that we can get the library, which is the only place that is large enough to hold the crowd that will be there, is on Tuesday nights and Friday nights.
What about the schools?
Well, right now it's easy for us to get the library,
Okay.
though.
Okay.
It's a lot of paperwork. Take it from us when we go
Wow.
into the schools and stuff. There's a ton of paperwork you have to fill out. Anyway, so what we're going to do is have it on the next planning board meeting will be on May 20th. And yeah, they have one on the 14th, but it's not including the farm. But they're having one on May 20th, and we're actually even giving up our counsel for that, because he is also our planning board counsel. So,
I'll be available by phone if you need me.
okay. So it's going to be interesting, but we want to make sure that we have enough room. We want to make sure that we have microphones. We want to make sure that we have, the right situation when this comes up before the planning board again. So, but there is another planning board. Again, all planning board meetings are sent out by email. They're all put on the web page. If you do not get our email blasts, please go to the web page, townofaustining.com, and you can sign up for the web blast. You get the supervisor updates. You get any important information that we want to get out into the public. So I want to thank everyone for a very interesting meeting, very informative meeting, very good dialogue. And we're going to adjourn into executive session for legal advice and personnel. So
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
So I want to thank you and have a great week. And don't forget, you don't have to come to Richard Wishney Park for Stash the Trash. But 12 to 4, go around the community. Get your groups together. If you're a couple, if you're a single, if you're a group, if you're a team, if you're a Boy Scout troop. Let's get Girl Scout troop. Now that their cookies are all distributed by then. Get these people out there and let's help clean this community. It will help in the parks. It will also help in the streets, because we did have a very, very hard winter, and we're very, very interested in getting this community where it should be. And if you see, there's a lot of flower planting going on right now, and you're not supposed to plant your flowers until Mother's Day, but happy Mother's Day to everyone that's a mother. And so
Or has a mother.
or wants to be a mother, or whatever. So anyway, have a great week, and so Stash the Trash on Saturday and Mother's Day on Sunday. So it's a very full weekend. Thank you very much. Have a great week.